Yay, the Beit haMikdash is built! It's the 70th year after the destruction of the first temple that the second temple was, I'm going to put completed in quotation marks, because it was a pretty puny, pathetic building, the original second temple. Now you are probably envisioning, if I say picture the second temple in your mind, so you're picturing this marble building with these big golden pillars and a golden crown on top, and it's shining, right? You know what I'm talking about? You know, the Beit haMikdash. Do you have a picture in your head? I'm saying there is a picture. If any time you'll see the Beit haMikdash depicted, this is how it's depicted. This giant marble tall structure with gold highlights.
We have a Kotel where we have a piece of it.
We don't even. What we have is a fragment of the outer supporting wall of the base of the temple that was on the Temple Mount. So there was a supporting wall around that section of the mountain. When you visit the Kotel, you're not visiting the temple wall, you're visiting the supporting wall of the Temple Mount. But even that was built by Herod the Great much, much later, only about 100 years before it was destroyed. So in other words, the second temple that was built by Ezra was built 300 years prior to that, with money that was given to the Jews by Cyrus. That building was super puny, small, pathetic. We don't know what it looked like, but it was like not much to behold compared to Solomon's temple, for sure. And in fact, the prophet talks about sort of the cutting of the ribbon when they said, "Yay, the Beit haMikdash is built!" Hooray! And it says all the young people were really, really excited, and all the old people cried, because they remembered Solomon's temple, and they said, "This is it? Really? This is what we waited 70 years for?" And they cried. Later in the Second Temple period, when the Romans took over, they made Herod the governor. So Herod was a very great builder. He was a psychopath. He was a very, very wicked person. He exterminated the Chashmonaim family, the ones that we celebrate on Chanukah. We go, Chanukah, yay, but the truth is that the war was ultimately lost. It was only a temporary victory that they got the temple and the oil. And it was the lights of the oil that we really are celebrating. Hashem was sort of saying, like, I'm still here. But the war stretched on for like another 25 years. And ultimately, the later Hasmoneans Hellenized. They became Hellenized. They made an alliance with the Romans to defeat the Greeks, which they did. But they all ultimately got wiped out. And the Romans, once they came in to help the Jews defeat the Greeks, they said, oh, by the way, we're not leaving. And you're going to pay us taxes now. You're going to be a vassal of Rome. So they appointed Herod as the governor, and he basically exterminated all the remaining Chashmonaim, who were the rulers until he got into power. But he was a very, very great builder. So he said, here, I'm the governor over Judea, and the crown jewel and the crown of Judea is this temple. And it was crumbling already. By the time of Herod, it was crumbling. The building was cracked and falling apart. He said, I'm going to make this a glorious building. And it was all for self-aggrandizement. So he builds it into this beautiful structure. And that's the one we have all the pictures of. Anyway, he was a very, very evil person. And he built this building, which only lasted about 100 years. And by the time he built it, the priestly service was corrupt. The positions were bought. The high priests were not righteous. And even the Sanhedrin, which met in a chamber in the temple, it was populated with people of terrible character, Sadducees. There was a lot of corruption in the Sanhedrin at that point. And the true Chachamim, the true sages, are walked out. They're like, we don't want anything to do with this. So the temple that we celebrate when we think of the glory days is actually, it's a farce. It's a farce. It was only a facade for a structure that had very little spiritual content, that was built by a very wicked person. So we kind of have the picture all wrong. That's the truth. The second temple was pathetic, sorry to say. This is it? Really? This is what we waited 70 years for.